Court of Ghosts. This is a story narrated by its protagonist, Ziyad, a young man from the Republic of Egypt. The events of the story began in 2004 when I was 26 years old. I lived in an apartment with my mother after my father's death. This apartment was in one of the popular neighborhoods in Cairo. One day, a verbal altercation occurred between my mother and me. I had to leave the house to let the tension between us cool down. I went to visit my friend who works as a barber, and we chatted for a while. During our conversation, an elderly man with a white beard and wearing a white robe entered the shop. He was carrying a black bag and started collecting the hair scattered on the shop floor, putting it into the bag without saying a word to us. Then he looked directly at me and said in a commanding tone, "Why did you upset your mother, Ziyad? Don't do that again." After saying this, he immediately left, leaving me in a state of fear and astonishment. Neither of us knew this man, and we had never seen him before. In this neighborhood, everyone knows each other. I asked my barber friend if he knew this man and if he saw his strange behavior. He replied that he didn't know him and had never seen him before. At that moment, I went outside to follow the man, thinking that maybe my mother had complained about me to him, even though I was sure she didn't know him. When I got outside, the old man hadn't gone far, and I saw the end of his robe slipping into a nearby street. I ran after him, but when I entered the street, I couldn't find any trace of him. I was terrified and confused about how the old man could have disappeared so quickly. I returned to my friend, and after finishing my haircut, I went back to our home, hoping my mother could answer my questions. On my way home, I felt as if a creature was walking beside me. I could feel the heat of its body, but I couldn't see anything next to me, and fear filled my heart. When I reached home, I saw the old man sitting on the building's stairs, looking at me with suspicious and terrifying eyes. I was so scared that I didn't dare ask him anything or even greet him. I quickly headed to our apartment and searched for my mother. When she saw me, she asked, "What's wrong, Ziyad? Why do you look so frightened?" I asked her, "Mom, did you complain about me to anyone in the neighborhood?" She replied, "Do you really think I would do that, my dear son? I would never complain about you to anyone except to God, hoping He will guide you." She then asked me to go to my room and change my clothes so she could prepare dinner for me. When I entered my room, I felt like someone was watching me through the window. Whenever I looked at the window, I glimpsed the tips of a head of hair sliding down below the window. I rushed toward the window and cautiously opened it. When I opened it, I saw something terrifying, something I had never seen before. I saw the old man who had been sitting at the bottom of the building. His head was incredibly long, reaching up to my window, and his face was right in front of mine, smiling. At that moment, I fainted from the horror of what I saw. When I regained consciousness, I saw my mother sitting next to me, talking on the phone with my uncle, asking him to come quickly because I had fainted. When she saw that I had regained consciousness, she asked, "What happened to you, Ziyad? Why did you collapse?" But I couldn't answer her because I felt a splitting headache. My mother went to get me some food and asked me to eat, as she believed my condition was due to exhaustion. But I asked her to leave me alone because I wanted to sleep. While I was sleeping, I saw something that I couldn't tell whether it was a vision or reality. I saw the door of my wardrobe opening, and 4 men with frightening features and short stature, all bald, emerged from it. One of them approached me, woke me up, and sat me on the bed as if I were in a trial. At that moment, my room transformed into something resembling a courtroom, and I found myself in a defendant's cage. 3 judges were talking to me, accusing me of something, but I couldn't understand their language. They were speaking in a strange tongue, but I could grasp their intent from their tone and gestures. One of the men, whom I couldn't see clearly, was standing in front of me and was fiercely defending me. Every few seconds, he gestured to me to stay calm and not be afraid, and I understood from him that the accusations against me were false. At the end of the trial, one of the judges approached me, holding a white sheet of paper tied with a piece of cloth, and handed it to me with a smile before leaving. At that moment, I woke up in a panic and saw the wardrobe door slamming shut. I ran out of my room, terrified, and rushed to my mother, screaming and asking her to protect me from these men who wanted to kill me. She asked, "Who wants to kill you, Ziyad? Who are these men?" But I was crying and screaming uncontrollably from the horror of what I had seen. I didn't calm down until I heard the call to the dawn prayer. I quickly performed ablution and resolved to pray, which was the first time I had prayed in many years. After finishing the prayer, I told my mother everything I had seen, starting from the old man entering the barber shop to the terrifying dream I had. My mother advised me to keep up with my prayers and the morning and evening remembrances, adhkar. Thanks to God, since that day, I haven't missed a single prayer, and this incident was the reason I returned to God once again. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this.